Welcome to the Parenting on the Spectrum show with board-certified behavior analyst and infant-toddler development specialist, Theresa Alexander Inman. Parenting on the Spectrum dives into real stories, challenges, and triumphs, offering invaluable insights and support for families on your unique journey. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome. Today, my guest is Gabrielle Martin. She is a working mama of two on a divine assignment, and she's going to tell us about what that is.
Hi, Theresa.
Welcome, Gabe. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm excited to be here.
All right. So you're on divine assignment.
Yes. So I am a career mama. I've got two girls, ages 10 and 15 now. And I am here to share about a little book that I was inspired to write. I never touted myself as an author. It was never something that was an intent of mine. But when my little one was 4, we were snuggling and she put her hand on my chest and said, "Hold my hand, Mama." And it was one of those bizarre moments where my brain just went nuts with all the different times in her life, starting then through, the end, when she's going to say those things to me. When will she say, "Hold my hand, Mama," in those milestones? So I started throwing it out on paper, and ultimately I had a manuscript written, and then it was like I had friends and family read it, and they were like, "You have to pursue this. Like, this is evoking so much emotion and creating such wonderful conversation with our kids that you've got to pursue this." And so I was like, well, I don't have time for that, full on career, 2 kids. And it kept nudging me. And so that's why I refer to it as a divine assignment, because it was like, okay, God, I hear you. I will pursue it. So I researched how to self-publish, found myself an illustrator, and created this guy.
Wow, beautiful. Love it.
But it is basically the journey with a mother-daughter relationship, from first steps to final moments and beyond. And we have just found in the last several years, just the response from moms and grandmothers and aunts and godparents and all the things, that it's just creating some really beautiful moments with children and families alike. And so I'm just wanting to share that with everyone else.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gabe. I really appreciate you for that, because we know that connection between parent and child, or just, other people and child, right? Because it doesn't have to be the parent. It could be, aunts, just everyone. Yeah. That connection is so important. It's vital for brain development. It's vital just for that diversity and upbringing, right? Because just one person can't do it all.
Right.
It takes a village. So Thank you for that.
Yeah. And it's not just, we talk about how crucial it is to get our faces out of our phones and our screens and spend this quality time with our kids. And yes, that's a massive piece of this, but specifically the different moments throughout, just like being able to, hold on, I want to show this one. Being able to talk to the kiddos about, I remember my first time at the doctor and how scared I was, and Mom was there. And then moving into the next phase of my first bike ride, and Mom being there, and just, I don't know, just that memory recall of, for the mother or the reader, it doesn't have to be a mom. You don't have to be a mom. Everyone's a daughter, right? And the child, if that is who you're reading it to, it's just really interesting to see what kind of conversations come out of this book. So.
Oh, I am sure. And it actually brings to mind a quote from Maya Angelou. People will not remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel.
It's one of my favorites.
Which gives me goosebumps when I, just saying it gives goosebumps, because it is so powerful.
It is. It really is. And that's 100%. And something along that same vein that I love when we talk about our purpose in life, right? So often as moms, we get stuck in, well, this is what I am. I am a mom. I am a, marketing professional. I am whatever you are. And I heard this quote that said, your purpose is not what you do. It's what happens in others when you do what you do.
Yes.
And I love that. It is so true.
It is. And it's so funny because we're just throwing all this out. I'm actually reading a book called The Go-Giver, and it's all about serving. It's like, who can you, like, it's about the people that you influence, right? And when I say influence, how are you impacting their lives? What are you doing to make it better? How are
Right.
you enriching the lives of, one person, which of course will, if in effect, improve the world if we just continue to do it on a regular basis.
Yeah. That's all we're here to do, is to be kind and be examples of love and light. And
Yeah.
for me, faith, I'm a very faith-based individual. So God is my guiding light through everything. But yeah, we are here to help each other through this crazy thing we call life, and accept the humanity of it. And yeah, I
Yeah.
just love that, though. It's not, we get so stuck in what we do and the day in, the day out, and you can get so lost in it, and it's bigger.
Yeah, it is. It is. I remember when I first met my husband, oh my gosh, he would ask me all the time, who are you? And it would annoy me. It would. It's like, who are you? And I was like, well, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a that. And then
Right.
he's like, who are you? And I say, and then one day I was like, I am a child of God. And
Yeah.
he's asking. He was like, yes, because again, it's not what we do, it's who we are, right? And he'd always remind me, we're human beings, not human doings, right?
Yes.
So being that person,
Yep.
So yeah.
I love that, because in the beginning of this, you mentioned, what kind of one phrase, one liner. And I'm just like, I struggle with that, because it's like, okay, well, I'm a working mama, but also we are so many other things. And how do you put that in words sometimes? I don't know.
Exactly. You can't. It's
Yeah.
hard.
But yeah, I just want to share, I love hearing, it's been 5 years now since we published on Amazon. And I love hearing the stories that continue to roll in from moms that say, this is a bedtime read for us, and our child loves to break apart the different moments and inquire about the ones they haven't experienced or that they're confused about. And so yeah, my goal is to just continue to share that message and encourage parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents out there to really carve out that time with kiddos. It is so important for them right now, and especially in this digital era, to just intentionally put down the screens and be present with them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And one thing I hear a lot, well, I don't have the time. And what I say to parents, however, if your child engaged in a challenging behavior, you would make the time,
That's
right?
right.
If you're having a tantrum, you would have no choice but to stop everything that you're doing and make the time. So let's put that time on the front end, right?
Right.
So that they don't feel compelled, or they're not led to engage in these tantrums or any other challenging behavior that gets your attention immediately. Right? Give it to them. And then, they'll be so much more, they'll feel seen and heard.
Right.
This is what
100%.
we all want, to
Right.
feel seen and heard. And if we don't give that to our children when their behaviors are, when they're not engaged in a challenging behavior, then it validates that, it reinforces that. However, if we wait, then we're reinforcing the behavior that you would rather not have any more of.
Right. 100%. I truly, my heart goes out to parents that are in that struggle and that journey with kiddos that deal with those issues. I mentioned I was in the behavioral health world for 3 years and got a glimpse of it, but I'm not, I wasn't a counselor. I wasn't in the trenches, and then watching the parents that struggle with that day in, day out. Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's got to take its toll. And where do you find the strength, when,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which is why we're here, right? Because when you ask me, why do you do this podcast?
mhm.
Well, as somebody who's in the behavioral health field, I saw the waiting list. Companies had to close their waiting list because it was not ethical to have a waiting list longer than 2 years. And when so much can be done in a
Mhm.
short amount of time. And then, like you said, parents are stressed. They're at the end of their rope. They don't know what else to do. So I thought, well, if I could do a little something, say something that
Yeah,
could help, give them a moment so that they can realize, they're not going crazy.
right. You're
And
not alone.
exactly, they are not alone. And I think that's one of the biggest things, right? The isolation.
Yeah,
I try to get parents out there, tell them it's okay to get out there. It's okay. Yes, your child may tantrum. However, they're not going to tantrum for, ever,
right.
because they're learning how to adapt to being out there. And you don't have to be, confined to your home,
Yeah,
being a prisoner in your own home, and then it's not helping your child because they're not learning to navigate the world.
right.
So,
Yeah.
no,
No,
yeah.
we all just, we're all humans and we just thrive on connection and community. And it's easy to forget that. I would imagine as a parent also with, when you are so isolated in your home with challenging behaviors. So yeah, my thoughts and prayers with those parents for sure.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you mentioned, the importance of connection. How did connection start with you and your child? What was the first step to connection for you?
Specifically with respect to the book, or are you saying just in general, like,
Just in general, because especially parents who have children on the spectrum, they struggle to connect with their child, right? So
sure.
what is something, and again, yes, spectrum, however, there's still people, they still have, their ways are, how should I put this? A child is not going to act a way, like the spectrum does not determine, right? It may affect,
Mhm.
however, children can be taught and parents can be taught how to teach their children and how to connect. So the way
Yeah,
that you connect might connect with somebody else
sure.
and then help them over that hump.
Yeah. Oh, um, my girls are 10 and 15 now, and it is an ongoing struggle, probably more so now, to find connection with them as they are navigating middle school, high school, and all the things there. So I would say in this phase, it is, and I'm going to go back to this whole digital piece. It is just the greatest challenge for us as parents with olders is to take those phones, take those tablets, and put them down, and really just essentially force the children to have connection and understand the value in that. And I have a great example of this. Last Saturday, I had both my girls here, and um, they were they had slept in. They were just sitting around, on their Snapchat or whatever it was. And I was making breakfast, thinking, no, like it is a gorgeous fall day outside, and back in my day, we didn't have that. Like if we got up on a Saturday, we finished our chores and we went out for the whole day to explore. And so I was like, girls, put all the electronics down. We're going for a walk because we just moved into this house. And they were like, what? And I'm like, a walk, like outside enjoying nature. And it's so sad because you're just like that was a shock to them, and they did not want to go. And but yeah, I made them leave their electronics here. We went for a very long walk, exploring the neighborhood, meeting other people. And I was just like, girls, would you have had this experience if you were sitting on the couch staring at your phones? Like, and that is true connection. We laughed, we shared, yes, they rolled their eyes, but then ultimately they enjoyed that. And so I think it's just, again, it has to be intentional, and we have to lead that charge as parents. Um, it it seemingly was easier when they were little girls because they desperately wanted to connect with me and dad, and because they were learning the world through us, and it's just, God, it's shifted.
It certainly has. And, because I just have this vision of in my head, when you talk about mama hold my hand, and how easy that was to now I've got my phone in my hand. So there's no
Yes.
space for you to hold it.
Now you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should put an insert in one of those sections with put your phone down and hold my hand.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, it's wild, but I do love that my now 10-year-old who inspired this, she still, if she sleeps with me, when she's here, she, cause I'm divorced now. And so just navigating that and when she is here, she's still, while she is very much attached to her electronics, she still, when we sleep, will like to sleep with me. And, just the other day, she will still put her hand, palm up and hold my hand when she falls asleep, even as a 10-year-old. And I just think those are some of my most precious moments.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I
Yeah.
get it. It brought to mind my son, my older son. I'd asked them, well, when they were younger, because it was just the three of us. And I was also divorced, when they were young. And I would ask, I said, okay, let's take a trip. Would you like to fly or drive? And Dre, who was 14 at the time, is like, Mom, let's drive so we could bond. I was like, what? Like,
What?
yeah, I
Great job, Mom.
know. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Still think, at that moment, and honestly, we did. We would, and this was before cell phones because my children are, adults.
Mhm.
So this was before cell phones, and on the way, we would laugh, we would cry, they would sleep, and they'd wake up, we'd laugh, we'd cry, they'd sleep some more, and it was so beautiful. I would not give those moments up for anything.
That's what it's about.
And I'm glad I had them before the age of cell phones because then I didn't have to fight with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to mention too, when you talked about going for a walk, it reminds me of a conversation I had with Dr. Yana Klayman, who is she's a holistic doctor and a functional medicine doctor.
Mhm.
And she talks about the importance of movement, right?
Yeah.
It helps with the gut. It
Yeah.
helps with the brain. There's so many benefits to movement. And when children are sitting on their, devices all the time, then they're not benefiting from that. So
Right.
yes, get out there and have them take their shoes off and,
Yeah.
ground
Feel
and
the grass.
yes,
Yeah.
it's crazy. People think I'm crazy when I go out walking my dogs and I have my shoes in my hand. I'm sure that people are like, what is wrong with her?
Oh, I love it.
Like it feels good to me. I know what I'm doing,
Yeah,
People who understand, they get it.
absolutely.
But
Yeah, and something else, that in addition to the movement piece, what it's doing for our kiddos' interpersonal communication skills is such a detriment to them. And my 15-year-old, when we will go through a drive-through or to a restaurant, she will ask me, or she has asked me to order for her because she is scared of the communication she has to have with a stranger. And or if we call for a reservation at a restaurant, she'll say, Mom, you call, my palms are sweaty and it makes me nervous. And I'm like, problem, absolutely not. And so I force her to do those things, force her to order her food and address people by their name. And we're just missing the boat. And it's on us. And gosh, I can't even fathom my childhood with cell phones or social media.
Oh, me
I
either.
can't.
Know.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to.
No, because it was so much richer, right?
Yeah.
Playing outside with your friends. I remember my friends and I would play Nicky Nine Doors. It's called something different in the States. I don't remember, but it's like, where you go knocking on people's doors and then you run.
That's ding dong ditching.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
I grew up in Toronto, so we called it Nicky Nine Doors. That's what,
I love it. That's
doing
great.
silly things like that, right?
Yeah.
We go like the apartments and you run down the stairs and you go to another floor and like just being silly and having fun,
Yeah.
Harmless fun.
For sure. And fostering creativity in that too, because they had no other choice. We had no other choice but to fill our time with, something.
Yep. Exactly,
It's
exactly.
wild.
And, and it reminds me too, I worked with a young man who was 14-year-old autistic young man. And we would go to restaurants and I would have him order, I would have him make requests. I thought, your mom's not going to be with you the rest of your life. This
Yep.
is something you've got to learn. And it was not comfortable for him.
Mm.
However, when he did it, oh my gosh, that look on his face that I just did that. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
you did. And the people at the restaurant, they would be like, oh my goodness,
Yep.
because what they usually see is somebody ordering for the children. Say, no, if they can talk, they can order.
Yep.
And if they can't talk vocally, I worked with a non-vocal young lady and we had pictures. So she would hand the picture to the person behind the counter to
Uh-huh.
order her food.
Yeah.
And, because communication is so important.
Yeah.
Without it, that's why we have the frustration and, we see all those behaviors. So that connection,
Yeah.
when you connect, it makes communication easier.
Yeah, for sure. And I was out with a mom. I had a happy hour with a mom last night, and she was getting ready to go to her family dinner, and she was dreading it. And I was like, "Why? This is supposed to be the highlight of your week. What's going on?" And she's like, "Well, my teenage daughter, and then she has a 20-some son." She said the dinner table looks like this, like this.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, that I was just like, I love you, Mindy, but you have to take those phones, put them in a bowl. Like it's
Yeah,
got to, if it's not coming from us, it's not, this is what they're going to think is norm.
absolutely.
And so I encouraged her when she went to the restaurant to start the dinner with, we are putting phones away and connecting with each other, and it's just an hour, and you're going to survive, and it's going to be great.
Yes.
So I,
And they'll realize just how awesome they are because now they get to connect and how awesome the other person is.
right.
I had honestly a similar thing. My grandchildren who were like, at the time, they were under 10 at the time, all under 10. And we lived in Florida at the time and heading to the Kennedy Space Station just for fun. Thought I'd take them out for the day and have, fun. And they asked if they could take their devices. I said, absolutely not.
No.
And they were a little sad until, halfway through the ride, they're like, oh, look at that cow, look at that horse, look at it. I said, would you have seen those if your faces were in your devices? Would you guys be talking to each other? If that was the case. And they were like, they saw the power in not having those devices.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
very important.
It is
So
a daily struggle for sure, but
it
it's our
is.
responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. So what's your favorite little story from your book? What's your favorite story from your book that you like?
Ooh. Well, one thing I like to share also that's kind of fun, and that's why it's tough for me to pick just one. So my illustrator is out of New Zealand, Claudia Gadati. I wanted this kind of a watercolor look, and so I gave her photos of my kiddos, and so she kind of mimicked the illustrations after them. So like I remember this moment with Coco. My daughter's Colette, but we call her Coco. That's the cover. But I would say one of my absolute favorites is the wedding scene. And it's, the moment before she's walking down the aisle with her mom, which I remember holding my mom's hand before that moment. And, so the whole kind of prose of the book is hold my hand, mama. Like this one, hold my hand, mama. Here comes a big wave. Hold my hand, mama. What is it? I want to be brave. So like when you get to this wedding page, it's you've held my hand, mama, for such a long while. Hold my hand, mama, before I walk down the aisle. And so that one gets me because that all of these are forever etched in my heart. But and then you get to having your own kiddos and guide her hands, mama, and it just I don't know, they all touch me in different ways, and it's so interesting too because they all resonate in different ways with the reader. And I've seen mamas read this because it's not just a kid's book. This has become something that I've got Hallmarks in town that buy it as gifts for baby showers and weddings, and And I've had moms that I had a mom fall apart at the college scene. There's a college section about, excuse me, let me see. Hold my hand, mama. I wish you could stay. It's all right, mama. I'm just a phone call away. Final moments before we let them fly the net or fly the coop. And so, I think it hits us all in different ways, and we all have different memories and moments with our moms. And, it's tough for me to pick just one.
Awesome. And what it makes me think, so I'm an island girl. I was born in Dominica. And when I was younger, like I moved to Toronto when I was 10. So before that, though, I remember sitting on the porch with my grandma and other people from the village telling stories. And that's what it feels like, right? It feels like the community coming together to tell stories. And I think that's what it feels like your book evokes for me. Those moments where you can remember the stories, and then maybe it brings up stories for the readers that they can share, and to give it almost a village feeling, through a book.
I love that. I love that perspective. And it does. It's not just, and that's, when we do read it with our children, it's not just, okay, flip the page, we're on this. And when my kiddos used to read this, they'd be like, I remember when we went to Cocoa Beach, and I remember when you fell over and you were wearing, we had one moment where Coco fell over because of a wave, and we were getting ready to go out to eat, and she was in her dress clothes and got soaked, and how much we laughed. And so, and that's what it's about. It's just sharing and connecting and drinking in these moments before they're gone, because they're so fleeting.
Awesome. And thank you for reminding a parent that was a laugh-worthy moment, and not a, oh my gosh, you ruined your dress and what are we going to do now? And, blah, 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 blah. Yes, remember those moments and laugh. Embrace them. Clothes can be tried. I remember we did the same thing with my granddaughter, and we stopped by, she visited me in Florida, and we went to the beach and she was all wet. So we just stopped at Ross on the way, back, and got some clothes.
Yeah, it works. The day's not ruined. It's not, you have to learn how to pivot and embrace those moments too, because they're, some of them are the most fond.
Yes, yeah. It becomes a memory. It becomes a beautiful, beautiful memory. Yeah. And if we frame it that way.
Right, 100%. And so I have a video of that moment where she fell into the wave, and she gets out. Her sister is dying laughing. I'm laughing. But she's mortified because her shirt was white. And so she was like, oh, it's going to be, you're going to see through it and all this. And I think as you watch the video, as she just hears how we're not freaking out about it and we're laughing. And I was like, babe, we'll go back and we'll get you a new shirt. Everything's fine. This is hilarious. And so now she does look back on it with a smile, but she didn't in the moment.
But your response changed that.
Right.
And because we teach children how to behave, right? By how we respond to what they do, and, which is very powerful.
Yes. Yep.
Wow, Gabe, our time is up.
All right. Fast.
It did. So your book, it's on Amazon?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it online with Barnes & Noble, Target. But yeah, it's out there.
Awesome. Show it to us again, please.
Okay. Hold My Hand Mama, and you can go to holdmyhandmama.com, but we usually direct sales to Amazon.
Okay.
And it comes in the hardcover and the paperback. So.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me and letting me share, and thank you for all you're doing for your listeners and encouraging people and mamas out there.
Thank you. And thank you for being a part of that.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And to our audience, thank you so much for watching. Hold My Hand Mama. Feel it. Don't just read it. Feel
That's right. Feel it.
Feel it.
That's right.
All right. We'll see you next week. Same place, same